And you just got you klutz.
Don't start with me, Mike.
Two, with the bases loaded and one out. Oh, it got deep to right field, way up there and way out of here. Second deck walk-off home run. Grand slam, Braves homer. It's been a decided game. Fourth and goal. Here's Iverson, through the defender, stays right where Allen wants to go, wants the baseline, fade away, yes! He's way too good! He steps around Lou and drilled it, and the Sixers have scored 9 in a row. 7 straight points by Iverson. Looked like he was dead the ball. The Sixers by 4.
And welcome once again to the Sports Skillet Radio Show. We are live here on our social media accounts. You can check us out every Sunday morning. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. However you are finding us, whether it be on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, any of the social medias. We want to also thank the Heat Ratio for also hosting us as well. Check out all their good shows on the Heat Ratio. All you have to do is do a search for the Heat Ratio. All their good shows pop up. We got a hockey show. We got the Eagles recap show tonight, starting at around 7 o'clock. So you want to tune in for that as well. A lot of great stuff on Sports Skillet as well. Just do a search for Sports Skillet or check out sportsskilletradio.com for all the great articles, for all the great show updates. We got our Twitter account with all the latest and greatest sports news. So you want to head over to sportsskilletradio.com and check that out as well. I am Jay. I am joined this week by Mike Nebbia, Jeff Scott, the coach Shane McGowan, and I believe soon will be Alex Secchia. He just popped off real quick. Let me bring back on Alex. He might have had some connection problems. There is Alex. And Shane, can you let everybody know how they can find you on your social media accounts?
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledgeperformance.ca as well as at mental_edge_performance. Gentlemen, it is week 1. How are we doing, and are we ready for some football tonight?
We are ready. We got our first taste a little bit on Thursday night when the Dallas Cowboys faced off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Alex, I'll go to you with this one. What were your impressions on that opening night football game Thursday night?
I was really surprised that the way the Cowboys played, the way they played. I was more surprised at how fast it was a shootout, and it was more of a high-scoring game than we anticipated. Dak was, utilizing a faster-paced offense, getting the ball out quickly with his, short passes and slant routes and stuff like that. But I think ultimately why I can say I was too surprised that the game was too high scoring was because, it's week 1. And, we expected everything to be slower and we expected that game to be slower, because it's week 1 and it'll take a little bit of time to get the engine rolling. But I think it was just vice versa. It was week 1 and it just took a while for the defenses to get their engines rolling, but the offenses were clicking on both sides. Dak playing through a shoulder injury, he surprised me. I think he threw for I think he surpassed the 400 mark. Correct me if I'm wrong. He definitely had more than 350. A couple touchdowns. He definitely surprised me the way he played with a hurt shoulder. So it seems like it's not bothering him at all. If the Cowboys play like that and continue to play like that, and if their defense can tighten up, they can be a good contender to win the NFC East if the defense picks up where the offense is rolling.
Yeah, what did you think about that, Shane? Dak Prescott overcame didn't show any signs of his lower leg injury, didn't show any signs of to me, didn't show many signs of his arm injury, his shoulder injury there. I thought he played pretty well for the Cowboys, Shane.
Oh, of course he did. I mean, let's put it this way. I think the Cowboys did it smart by making everybody question whether or not he was prepared to play. You know what I mean? They did a good how can you say under the radar type of stats for him, and it proved to be beneficial. Look at Dak. Dak is ready to play. He demonstrated that out there. He took the hits, everything like this. He ran the ball pretty good too, considering everything. Yeah. Threw the ball for, like you said, just over 400 yards. CD Lamb shined. Like the kid's going to, no question about that. Amari Cooper as well. Offensive line, I'll say this: they still couldn't get that run game going like they wanted to, and I think that's going to be huge when it comes for Zeke being productive. Because, like I said, you got to be balanced. Dallas does look good in that way, but I said hopefully when they get their old line back too. I mean, you got a couple of guys that are still out, etc. Defensive though. Like you said, like Alex said, you got to tighten it up. The DBs got to tighten it up and things like that. Because you think about it, there was a lot of drop balls. There were a few things that Tampa did that would have kept moving the chains as well. And when Gronk scored like that easy one, and you got one of the best pass rushers chasing you down, you know what I mean? That's a blown coverage. So I mean, there's a lot of still miscues out there and things too. So. I'll give Dallas credit though. I mean, we'll see now today. This is what I'm saying is we're going to see exactly how the Eagles play, how the Giants play, right in this division, and Washington. And let's see after what we just saw from Dallas, can those other three teams look as good as what Dallas did look even in that loss?
Yeah, Shane, do you take anything away from the turnovers that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had during the game Thursday? Or do you think that's just opening night jitters and they'll work their way through it?
You're going to see a ton of it today. I mean, look, it's week one. And again, too, is the starters all across the board have not played as much as what they're used to in certain things. So week one, even week two, you're still going to see a lot of so-called easier things that do happen. You're going to see some miscues, misplays, especially on defense too. I mean, they're going to get spooked a little bit out there and make some bad choices and stuff too. And I also think you're going to probably see a lot more penalties flying around too, because it seemed like there's a lot of flags being flown as well. So like I said, it's going to be a long afternoon today when it comes to certain things, but this is week one. Expect that.
Speaking of which, Shane, you brought up a good point. Towards the end of the game, there was a semi-disputed call late in the game. Do you think it was pass interference, and would you have called it?
No, I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to call it because it's going to go both ways. You know what I mean? Look at karma's a bitch, as they said. All right, and it's going to come back, and it's going to get Tampa as well. You know what I mean? And it's going to favor one time for the Cowboys in a certain game as well too. Could you have called it? Yes, you probably could have. Okay, whether they chose not to. I mean, look at there's a lot of things that these refs are still trying to figure out themselves too. I'll say that. But I mean, if you're going to call something, make it be at least a better full-blown type of an offensive push. You know what I mean? To get it. Look at the guy was stumbling a little bit. He did bang into him, but his arms weren't extended. You can make a debate over anything. There's no question about it. But like I said, I think they got away with it to a certain degree. I wouldn't have called it though, but I'm just saying they did get away with it, and it did put them in a great position naturally. But you're going to see things throughout the season just like that, then we're going to be shaking our heads because that's what we do with the refs.
Yep, exactly. What did you take away from the game, Mike?
Well, first off, going back to that pass interference call, looked like there was a push-off on the defensive player's part. So I probably would have called that pass interference.
Gotcha.
To the game itself, it was a pretty tight-knit contest, as we were all expecting it would be. So credit to both teams, but Tampa with the home field advantage, with Brady, with Gronkowski, Tampa got the win.
Yep.
As I had predicted, and this is going to go well for Tampa going forward.
Yeah, I mean they get a win over a possible division champion and the Dallas Cowboys. So again, that would go towards their possible home seeding in the playoffs. So it was a good win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Any other comments about the game, Jeff?
Well, you already know my position on Tom Brady. So, but I have to give credit where credit's due. You know, they played a great game. You know, I can't dispute that. But the Cowboys, they gave them a run for their money. They pushed back, you know, really when you look at it. And I agree with Alex. If they shape up and they get their stuff together, I think they're going to be very formidable this year.
I think the biggest –
Go for it.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead, Alex.
I think the biggest takeaway is the Brady-Gronk connection that's never died out. Brady and Gronk ran the same play that they used to run in New England 4 times that game, and on one of the plays was the touchdown play to Gronk. It's the seam route where Gronk lines up on the line, and he shoots up, and he has a seam route right over the middle, overtakes the linebacker, or surpasses the linebacker, takes on the safety, and beats him every time. You saw it. It was the one ball he threw it. Brady dropped it right into double coverage, and he split the safety and the linebacker. I think it's crazy. Those are the things I feel like some people don't notice too much, because you want to talk about how old Brady is and all this stuff, but the fact that they are still running routes that they ran back in New England and no one is stopping it, I find that crazy. It's still not stopped. It's wild. And the new offense, they're older. Gronk retired for a year, and he came back, and they're running the same play. It's a touchdown play every time.
Hey, I'm also more impressed with how Antonio Brown played out there too.
Oh yes, if Antonio Brown plays, I feel as if he played the way he was playing as if he was on Pittsburgh again. We saw old Antonio Brown. If he plays that way, there is no reason this Tampa Bay team.
And like I said, the feistiness out of him too. I mean, his helmet's coming off. He's like sparking some fire under there.
Fired up.
Like I said, that's a guy that's ready to play. You know what I mean? And that's week 1, and that's what you want.
And Brady, it's great. Last year, Mike Evans in the first 2 games of the season recorded a touchdown. I believe. The first 4 straight games of the season, Mike Evans didn't have a touchdown today.
No,
he was the number one red zone target in the NFL for leading the first 8 weeks of that season. Brady beat his defense in touchdowns with Gronk and Godwin, and Mike Evans was kind of silent.
So look, I'll look at this and say between Evans being very quiet out there that night as well. All right, Evans was very quiet in many ways. Godwin had a lot of drops. AB was your guy that made the connections, and Gronk made his connections. The run game between Fournette, who I think they lost a little faith in Ronald Jones when he dropped and fumbled a couple of things out there, right? Which didn't make the coach very happy. Fournette did do his thing, but he did have a bad bounce as well. I think they're still trying to figure out their run game, because they were throwing in Bernard out there a few times too on the pass catch, right? So I think they still got some things they need to figure out when it comes to a solid run game and how they want to implement these guys in there. But I think if Godwin can make sure he doesn't get the old fumbleitis with the hands at certain times and keep the eye on the ball, and Evans can get himself a little bit more open, you got a pretty good solid attack there.
Yeah. I think also it was a great play when Brady avoided the rush, avoided from getting sacked and got the ball out, not in a way that you see Brady throw the ball, but the way he got it out and learned from that, made the reception right on the sideline. That was a great play. I think the biggest blow to Tampa Bay in that game was the injuries to the defense.
Oh.
The hit that between on the one play with Sean Murphy Bunting and Antoine Winfield Jr. That play was rough to see. You never want to see things like that. I think that was one of the bigger blows to Tampa Bay going forward. It's just those injuries, because those are key defensive players. And I think that's one not advantage, but I think that's another aspect as to what helped keep Dallas in the game as much as they did. So that's another reason. But going forward, if this team clicks and, like Shane says, find the rhythm with the run game, and Godwin's not going to always play like that too. He won't always have drops. And then you're going to see games where Mike Evans comes up. This team has too many offensive weapons. And when one player slacks, the other one's picking up. And if we're picking up the slack, and if we're seeing Steelers Antonio Brown come back, there's no reason this team can't go undefeated. But you got to look at these defensive injuries that happen. How long would they last for? But even then, their defensive front's still solid, and they still have a very good defense behind them.
Are you guys at all concerned about the lack of depth on the Tampa Bay secondary? They lost, I believe it was a safety and a corner in the game, and that seemed to affect the Tampa Bay defense.
Oh, yeah, it's going to affect. You know what I mean? As soon as you pull one in, another one's got to replace and swap out and stuff. I mean, they did what they had to do. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But overall, I think Bowles there, he's gonna have to look at some things and say, okay, if I got guys out for a while, we got to find who's going to be the good positional players to play at those spots right then and there, because they got to fill it in, and it's always a next man up attitude. You know what I mean? And they'll do it. They'll find that,
and they'll find it out because. The reason why I have so much confidence in Todd Bowles is, one, if worse comes to worse, you're going to go find someone and sign them. But Here's the thing. The biggest thing is he's going to adjust to how he runs that defense. Okay, am I going to send more? Am I going to crowd the line more? Am I going to play more press? Am I going to drop back and play more zone? He's going to find those. He's going to find that perfect mix where he's going to run his defense and how he can pressure. Because the dangerous aspect, and I saw it a couple times that night, is when he packed the box. There was one play on the end on the left side. You had Ndamukong Suh. You had You had Devin White, Levante David, and these guys. And it was Ndamukong Suh, Shaquille Barrett, Devin White, and Levante David crashing the line. They got right through into Dak Prescott, and it was getting to them. You find all teams that don't have a strong offensive line. You crowd the box. It's a dangerous combo. The reason why I have so much faith in Todd Bowles is look what he did last year. Last year against the Chiefs, they were torched with a completely healthy team. Torched. And Tyreek Hill put up Madden stats against them. You went to the biggest game of the year, biggest game ever, the Super Bowl, and you shut the team down. You shut them down.
Yep.
Todd Bowles, a couple injuries, a minor factor for him, the way I look at it. You shut down one of the best offenses in the NFL last season. One of the best offenses in the NFL last season in the Super Bowl. I have faith in you with a couple injuries.
There you go. And I want to thank Andre T. Johnson for checking us out today. Thank you, Andre. We will be getting to the Eagles, the Giants, and the Jets games a little bit later on in the broadcast. But I want to go around now and get some predictions from the team here as far as how we think the season is going to unfold. We'll start over in the NFC with the NFC West. We got the Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, and 49ers. Alex, I'll start with you. How do you think the division's going to break out?
Oh, it's a rough one. I can see – one of the things I was excited for was the Rams game, so I wanted to see how Matthew Stafford's going to play in this new system. As I feel like that was one thing they were missing. They were missing a quarterback. They got the defense. They got positional players. They needed a quarterback with experience that was more knowledgeable than Jared Goff and could really get the job done. I feel like Matthew Stafford has a chip on his shoulder. He won, not a chip, but he was in a system that wasn't winning. You now have a better opportunity to go win. You're going to take advantage of every second of that. So I'm kind of excited to see how he plays with a higher caliber team. I'm excited. I want to see how the Seahawks play, especially during the offseason, at the beginning of the offseason last year, and the Russell Wilson trade rumors and how he wanted out. How is this team going to play? How is their chemistry going to look like on the field now? I'm excited, but I'm excited a lot to see this Cardinals team. How are they going to play? How is A.J. Green going to play? J.J. Watt, stuff like that. How are they going to use him? Positional players. I think it's going to shake out well. Like I said, I think it's one of the toughest divisions that you're going to see. That's going to be the tightest division to watch all season long. These guys are going to be a game. I feel like it's going to be a close division the whole season. It's going to be neck and neck the whole run.
So if you had to pick a division winner, which one would you go with?
Oh crap!
I can come back to you if you want to think about it.
I'm gonna get bold. The Cardinals.
All right. So Mike, how do you think the division's going to shake out?
NFC West is a wild card division, just like the NFC East, but the NFC West isn't as bad as the East. Yep. Stafford in LA may prove to be the difference maker. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Gotcha. And Shane, who do you think is the division champ?
Yeah, I was going to take the Rams too this time.
Yep.
I think Stafford was the biggest addition. Cardinals are going to be tight. There's no question about that. I think. Unfortunately, I'm curious to see how much they're going to try to just make sure that quarterback doesn't keep taking off like a Lamar Jackson and doesn't get himself banged up, right? You know what I mean? He's got to be a little bit smarter and safer in some things. I love his talent and everything like this, but I think he's going to have to give that ball off a little bit to save himself too. But I think it's going to be a bit of a tight race. I know with Stafford, he doesn't want to take off. He's going to give it to his running backs. He's going to throw the ball instead. You know what I mean? That's just what Matthew does, but he's good at it. So I think it's behind this line, and I think that defense of the Rams is just too damn tough and they're going to keep them in the games a lot more too.
Yep. And Jeff, how do you think the division is going to shake out?
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of everything I've read so far. I'm actually leaning towards the 49ers.
I knew you were going to say that.
Don't tell Jeff that. Don't tell Jeff that.
That'll be our secret.
Everybody named Jeff wants to go for the 49ers.
I don't know why. I read it and I'm like, you know what? I kind of see the 49ers, but I could be wrong, and I usually am. So I admit.
The only thing I see in the 49ers is a quarterback change.
Yeah, that's one reason why I'm not picking the 49ers in this division is because I have questions about whether Garoppolo can hold up over a 17-game season. And when they go to the rookie quarterback, I think that'll change things up a little bit. Might cost them a game or two. So I'm going to go with the Rams in this division as the division champion. So let's go over to the NFC South. We got the Saints, the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Falcons.
Skip it, the Bucks. You might have to skip that one. I think it's Bucks.
Well, is anybody taking anybody other than the Buccaneers in this one?
I'm actually going to take the Saints.
Mike going with the Saints.
What happened?
And why are you picking the Saints, Mike?
The Saints are going to have much more to play for now that Hurricane Ida has passed and hit New Orleans. They're going to be playing for much bigger stakes. They're going to be playing to help heal a city. And when a city like New Orleans has been devastated by a natural disaster, has been devastated by a terror attack like New York was devastated 20 years ago, the team's going to be rallying for their city. The city's going to be rallying around their team to help them recover. And New Orleans will have that chip on their shoulder to try and recover, to try and help New Orleans recover.
I like that point. To his credit, I believe last time they got hit with a hurricane, the Saints won the Super Bowl that year. But here's a different scenario. You don't have Drew Brees, Jameis Winston's your quarterback, and Tom Brady's in your division.
And you're also missing your top receiver who's out for 8 weeks
6
as
weeks.
well.
Oh,
6
weeks,
yeah. I mean, you're relying on Kamara, which is great, and a couple of these other young guys. And I just don't think – and plus, Lattimore may not be playing today either. And you're playing against Green Bay right off the hop. So in a neutral site too.
Yeah,
in a neutral site because you're not playing at home exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not like you got a fans or fan base. I mean, it could be going both ways. It's like a college game, really.
Yeah. But miracles can happen, guys. Miracles can happen. I mean, we always talk about the underdog.
It didn't happen on Thursday for them Cowboys.
This is true. So then let's go over to the NFC North. We got the Packers, Bears, Vikings, and Lions. Mike, I'll start with you on this one. How do you see the division shaking out?
Well, now that Jared Goff is in Detroit,
don't do it, man. Don't do
Detroit has been a bad team for too long. Detroit's not ready. They could be a wild card team if they play their cards right. But it's going to come down to Minnesota and Green Bay, and I'm going to take the Pack.
All right. Alex, how do you see the division shaking out?
I really thought he was going to go with Detroit for a second.
I like that swerve, Mike. That's awesome.
You must have a lot of faith in Jared Goff. I have no faith in Jared Goff at all. Yeah. But Bears, I'm waiting for them. I said it last year. I was hoping for them to pull it off last year. I want this team to win the division. I'm going bold again. The Bears.
Listen, all right.
Devontae Adams will not have his year. The year he had last year, he's not repeating it. He will not repeat it. Mark it right now.
Now, what about this being possibly Aaron Rodgers' last year in Green Bay? Maybe that's a little more motivation for him, Alex. You know, to go ahead and have that super season. Yep.
It could be his motivation, but listen, the Bears and the Packers are the oldest team in the NFL. You know what's more motivation for the Bears? Make our most hated, most biggest rival go out on a career like he doesn't want to go out. You're motivated. All right, put it this way. If he's motivated because it's his last season, the Bears should be motivated to make his last season his worst season. We're winning this division. You're not. We're going. You got to take it from us.
Are you at all?
But actually, no, I can't say it. They got Andy Dalton as a quarterback now.
They do. They do.
That's why I didn't go Chicago. You can't trust Andy Dalton.
Oh, hold on.
The Red Rocket.
All right, give it to Green Bay. Give it to Green Bay. Dang.
You forgot Andy Dalton.
I solely went off the fact they drafted their quarterback. I completely forgot how bad the offensive line is. That you had to start Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton can't even do a backup.
Andy Dalton couldn't even start in Cincinnati.
Oh, I forgot. Come on. I was really hyped for the Bears. Chicago, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I had a lot of faith in you, but I forgot.
Yeah, I almost went Detroit because of Chicago having Andy Dalton.
No. You didn't almost go Detroit because they had Andy Dalton.
All right, take into consideration Chicago having Andy Dalton. Because I can't trust Dalton.
I'm going to go bold one more time. I'm not even going to say Packers. Let's go to the Vikings.
Okay, so Alex is going with the Vikings. Shane, who do you got?
Why not? Have fun with it. Everyone else is going to say Packers.
Yeah, you know, between, like I said, the Bears, depending on how that happens with Justin Fields coming in and things like that, I would like to see the Bears make a roll on certain things. There's no question there. But I just, until Dalton gets out of that mix, it ain't gonna happen for a while. The Vikings and the Packers are the ones that I'm kind of flipping a coin on, because Vikings seem to have that sort of rabbit's tail at certain times. You know what I mean? They sort of get lucky on certain things and things. And the Packers, though, like you said, Rodgers last year and Devontae Adams possibly his last year there too. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that are up in the air that these two might say, well, we're going to go with the boom and bring up our price of whoever wants us next anyways. So I know you got to go with the favorites and stuff, but yeah, I'll take a shot. I'll say the Vikings too, though.
Let's go, Shane.
All right.
Let's do this. I would say Dalvin Cook has a good year. Dalvin Cook.
I think Dalvin Cook have great. Here's the thing.
And Jefferson.
Yeah. It was Devontae, that was Green Bay's year last year. I get it. I know the team had that was their time. They could have won in the championship game on the 13-yard line when Aaron Rodgers rolled out, and instead he tried to hit it to Devontae in double coverage. He should have ran that ball in the end zone. He didn't. That was their time to do anything. This year's going to be a different year. I mean, good team. If they win, I wouldn't be surprised. No, Devontae Adams will not have his season last year. He will not. I'm telling you now.
All right. And Jeff Scott, who do you got in this one?
Come on, Jay. You should know me better than
I do, but you know, a lot of people don't.
The people don't. The people don't, Jeff.
The people don't.
But I'm happy that Alex and Shane are actually with me on this one because I always support the Vikings no matter what. And
Let's
I'll give you a reason.
go!
And this year, this year I'll explain why. The Vikings and Packers have always had that rivalry. But now that Aaron Rodgers might be leaving, my mentality is if you're quitting a job and it's your last week, are you really going to push to do anything extra? Dude's making a lot of money. He's going to take it. He's going to go out on his own terms in his own time. And it's like, I'm done. I'm having a good time. That's it. But I am not going to push myself and possibly ruin a start of a good retirement. I mean, that's how I see everything. I'm sure everybody else has that. So I have to stick with the Vikings. I think this might be their year to push past that and use that to their advantage.
Not a bad pick. I am going with Green Bay in this division. And finally, the NFC East, we have the Washington football team, Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. Alex, I'll start with you on this one. How do you see the division shaking out?
Washington football. I'm going to stand by the Washington football team still. But if the Cowboys play the way they play, there's no reason why they can't win. But it's hard. It's weird to say that now because that's one of the teams that played already. Everyone else has yet to play. And so before the season, I've been saying Washington football team because of the defense and because of how crappy the division is. I'm going to ride with that. But the Cowboys really surprised me. They play that way continuously and tighten up their secondary. They can win.
Gotcha. And Shane, how do you see the division shaking out?
Yeah, kind of the same. I mean, like I said, I had favored Washington, and I haven't seen them play yet. Even if they win today, how do they win? Do they look good winning? I mean, I thought Dallas, even in a loss, looked pretty good up there. You know what I mean? If they can fix some things, that's the key at it. So it's almost like, again, another coin toss now with these guys because Dallas just decided to put themselves in the mix. You know what I mean? So I'm still going to stick with Washington. At this particular time, though, I'll say Washington, and I think it might come down to these guys where they have to face each other, and actually, one of them who does win is going to be that team that says, "Okay, we finally got this." So I'll stick with Washington.
Gotcha. And Jeff Scott, how do you see the division shaking out?
Well, I agree with you. I think it's going to be Washington, but I am extremely curious how the Eagles are going to be playing this year. I mean, we haven't seen much of them during the training camp. So it's like, I really don't know how they're going to play today. So they might come out to be like on top. You never know. So I would like to see the Eagles come out, but we don't know. So
I'm curious if they're going to play.
Yeah. And no matter how good the Cowboys did, giving them a run for their money, I don't see them winning. So I'm sticking with Washington.
Gotcha. And Mike, how do you see the division shaking out?
I don't see the Cowboys winning the division. Eagles, possibly. But Giants, possibly, if Daniel Jones can fix his turnover issues. We did see some of those turnover issues in the latter part of the preseason. But if he can fix them to an extent where we don't have to worry about them anymore, the Giants could make a run and make it a dogfight between Washington and the Giants. So, as we've been saying, the NFC is going to be a wild card division. It is the worst division in all of football. I can't see this going either way.
I wonder what your fantasy football team looks like.
I'll say Dallas does better than the Giants. I'll say that Dallas does better than the Giants this year.
I will agree with Shane on that.
I say the Eagles and Giants are battling for fourth place.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, I can tell you one thing: I did not pick Daniel Jones in my fantasy team.
Did you pick Jared Goff?
I did not pick him either. He went way before he went way early.
Well,
Jared Goff went way early?
Yes. He went third round.
Can I be in your fantasy league?
Yes, he went third round.
Third round?
Wow. Well, here's the thing that I see in the division. I don't know that I could pick Washington only because when was the last time a team repeated in this division? It was, I believe, 03-04, and that was like the Philadelphia Eagles. So every year there's been a new division champion.
Whoa. I got to pause you there, Jay.
Okay.
Because there wasn't even a champion last season. It was like the biggest loser.
Well, okay. How about this? A new division winner. How about that?
No. It was the biggest loser. You was.
It was
the battle of the worst teams.
Okay, there's been a new team on top every year. How about that way? Can I phrase it that way?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but in my eyes, they still weren't on top. Your top was still the bottom. Like it was like a.
I had to phrase it so. I had to put it some way there.
Jay, are you going to go and say the Eagles are winning the division?
Well, I follow my line. I'm going to go Princess Bride here. So I can't possibly choose Washington and Fitzpatrick because I don't trust Fitzpatrick over a 17-game season.
I don't trust Fitzpatrick either.
Hey, Jay,
you trust Jared Goff?
No.
Hey, Jay, what shirt are you wearing right now?
I don't trust Goff in Detroit. Detroit's O-line is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't trust the Giants' offensive line. I think that has been horrible. They've shown that in the scrimmages and the preseason. And when you have a quarterback that fumbles and turns the ball over, like Danny Dimes, I can't really trust the Giants. So that leaves me with two teams in this one. That leaves me with the Eagles and Dallas. Now, Dallas did show me something on Thursday night that they can be really competitive. And if they can tighten up some things, and maybe if they weren't facing Tampa Bay, they might have been able to pull this game out. So I think the Eagles and Dallas are going to battle over the division this year.
Jay, what you've seen fight from the Cowboys? What have you seen from the Eagles this preseason to say they're a contender?
Well, that's just the thing. They're a mystery. I haven't seen a whole lot out of them, so I don't know what kind of game their coach is going to call. I don't know how good Hurts is going to be as a starting quarterback over 17 games.
That's scary.
Well, you will in about an hour.
Oh yeah.
That's scary. A new team, a new quarterback, new head coach, new everything.
New defensive coordinator.
That's scary.
It is. But I will go with the Eagles in this one. Just because they're the great unknown. No team is repeated in this division. So
and they don't have Wentz.
Wentz turned the ball over tremendously last year, quite a bit. So maybe if you dial down the turnovers a little bit and they hold on to the ball, maybe that's the difference in winning a couple extra games, and that could be the difference in winning the division.
They had one rocky season. It will not happen again. This is no underdog Eagle season.
True.
I don't know.
Maybe.
That's a bold statement.
It is.
It's bold.
I hear a wager coming on here.
It's a wager.
Speaking of wagers, Jeff.
What? We don't have one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is there something I don't know about?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm clueless too.
But
I'm not going to be like that, Alex.
Spill it, guys.
But let's go over to the AFC real quick. We got the AFC South, which has the Titans, Colts, Texans, and Jaguars in this division. How do you guys see the division shaking out?
Titans.
Alex is going with the Titans. Shane, who are you going with?
Yeah, I like the Titans too this year.
And Mike, who are you going with?
I gotta go with the Titans.
And Jeff Scott, are you going to be a dissenting voice? Do you have the Colts? Do you have, with Carson Wentz?
Don't make me smack you, Jay.
Okay.
Smack him.
Oh, God. I don't know. I'm going with the Titans.
All right. Just because I need the draft pick, I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts in this one.
Of course
I don't know that Carson Wentz can hold up over 17 games, but I will go with the Titans. I don't see the Texans doing anything, and I don't see the Jaguars doing anything. So I don't blame you guys going with the Titans at all. I'll just go with the Colts because the Eagles needed a high draft pick.
Carson Wentz barely made it to spring training.
True. But we'll see
he barely made it to Indianapolis before he got hurt.
True.
He hopped off the plane and tweaked his toe.
This is very true. I'm just hoping for a high draft pick. That's all I'm hoping for.
So are the Eagles. So are the Eagles.
So are the Eagles. You know what? I don't even know at this point because Howie Roseman, you can give him 100 draft picks. He got that one right because he had to. The coach and the quarterback were axed. He was next. If I screw up this pick, I don't know what else to tell you. You have to be screwed. So, because after he did that, he quickly went down. That second round, you drafted the injured center. You started off with a handicap at that point.
Yeah, but let's see what Hurts can do. Let's see if he can be a starter in the league.
Well, he has to be a starter. He has no choice.
True.
True that.
Very true. So in the AFC East, we have the Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets. Mike says the Bills. Alex, who do you say?
Bill Belichick.
Alex is going with the Patriots.
Not happening.
And Shane, who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills on this one.
Bills. And Jeff, you going with the Bills?
I ain't going with the Patriots.
Let's go.
All right. I am going with the Bills as well. And in the AFC North, we have the Steelers, Ravens, Browns, and Bengals.
Wait, Jeff, sorry to cut you off. Jeff, did you say you're not going with the Patriots?
Yeah, not going. Not.
Oh, never mind.
So you can calm down now. They're out. I'm going with the Bills. I'm backing them.
Yeah. All right. So in the AFC North, we have the Steelers, Ravens, Browns, and Bengals. Who's going to wind up the division champion, Alex?
Well, Ravens are in a hospital, so I guess now I have to say Browns.
Yep. And Shane, who are you going with?
Yeah, dang it. Ravens are beating up bad. I know I ain't taking no damn Pittsburgh, that's for sure. But I think if the Browns can stay healthy, I'll take the Browns too. I'm going to go with Browns.
And Jeff Scott, who are you going with?
Actually, I didn't even think about this division. That's a good question. You know what? I'm going to go with the Ravens just because.
All right. And Mike, who are you going with?
I'm going to be a dissenting voice on this one. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
All right. And I am going with the Cleveland Browns. And finally, in Shane's favorite AFC West, the Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos. Alex, who takes the division?
Big Patty Mahomes.
Mike, who takes it?
I gotta go with the Chiefs here.
Chiefs. Jeff, who are you taking?
Come on, man. Chiefs.
All right. And Shane, are you going to go with your Raiders?
Of course I'm going with my Vegas Raiders. I've been moving from Oakland to LA to Oakland to Vegas. I'm with them wherever we go.
You have a multi-billion-dollar stadium. I'm going to play like a billion-dollar team.
Man. So I'm taking my team. I got to pay it off. Come on.
There you go. I am going with the Chiefs in this one. Do we want to give our Super Bowl picks? Alex, who do you got in the Super Bowl?
Wow. Super Bowl. I didn't think about that one yet. Come back to me.
Okay. Jeff Scott, who do you got in the Super Bowl?
Well, like I said, I can't really make that prediction this first week because I don't know how the teams are going to play. But I want the Vikings to get there. Come on. Or the Eagles or the Chiefs. Probably the Chiefs. But I'm pretty sure Brady's going to be there somehow.
Tampa Bay. Mike, do you have a Super Bowl pick?
Yeah, the matchup I'm hoping for is the Chiefs versus the Rams. And I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Gotcha. I think the Bills are going to get there against – I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get there this year. I'm going to go bold on this one. Alex has gone bold a couple of times. I'm going bold. I'm going to go with the Bills versus the Packers in this one. And anybody else? Alex, do you have a Super Bowl pick or no? Or you want to wait?
Oh, dude. I think the Bills are not – the Bills are super close, but I think they're like a piece or two away from being able to dethrone the Chiefs. I don't know. It's a rough one. Dude, honestly, it's hard. I see Tampa Bay making it back. I just see Tampa Bay making it back. But I don't see anyone in the NFC that can match Tampa Bay in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
It's a different animal. You can win. You saw it firsthand last year. The Saints mopped the floor in the regular season, and in the playoffs, couldn't keep up. It was a different story. The thing is, playoffs are a different monster. This team is 100% returned. When was the last time a Super Bowl champion team 100% returned? Everyone re-signed and everyone came back. And you've never seen that before. 2, when you go into playoffs, this team has the same chemistry and they're building on last year's momentum. They're building on what they did in the regular season. And any other team that will meet Brady in the playoffs, at this point, you should never really doubt Brady in the playoffs. So it's really going to be hard to knock him off. I see Tampa Bay making
Unless
it
you're
back.
the Giants 2008 or 2012.
Yeah, but that's a whole different story. As far as AFC, that's rough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm just going to say it. Nah, because the Chiefs know we're going to do a three-peat. No shot. That's a rough one, dude.
Yeah, it is. I want to also thank Dan Green for joining us this week and commenting on our social media. Reminder, you can always leave us comments during the course of the show. We appreciate Dan Green doing that and leaving us his comments on his division winners as well. Want to dive into a couple of games this week. Eagles are going to be at the Atlanta Falcons. They're one of our local teams. Guys, how do you see this game? Do you think Atlanta takes it, or do you think Philadelphia takes it? Alex, I'll start with you.
Well, it's going to be the first game without Julio Jones for Atlanta, so we're going to see how this team plays out. The Titans Super Bowl pick for AFC.
Oh, okay.
Run it up. Get bold. Yeah, the first game without the Falcons, without Julio Jones. You're going to see how their new Kyle Pitts plays. Interesting factor. How are they going to use him? How is he going to play? The biggest advantage for Atlanta is you have a team that doesn't have no chemistry really together. A new whole system in place. So the negative to that is they can shock them because there's no film on this team now. There's no real solid film and something to go off of. But I'm going to say Atlanta wins this game through Matt Ryan's veteran leadership. The fact that they still have Calvin Ridley, who is a very dominant wide receiver, very dominant. It's hard to cover him. They got Kyle Pitts now, and the way they might utilize him can be very, very dangerous. There's nothing there for me to back Eagles at all. So, Falcons.
Gotcha. Shane, how do you see this game shaking out? Any particular player or matchup you're watching?
I think Shane dropped out. I think his connection. He froze a little bit. I think his connection dropped.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to get off of Bell Media.
Okay. Jeff Scott, how do you see this game shaking out?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I'm curious for this entire week. I want to see how everything goes before I make any kind of major predictions. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Mike, any predictions about the game?
The big unknowns are, what are we going to be expecting from Coach Nick Sirianni? What is this new offense for the Eagles going to look like? What is the new defense for the Eagles going to look like? It's just too many unknowns for the Eagles right now. I'm picking the Falcons.
Gotcha. Yeah. And we have another local team, Jets at Carolina. Alex, how do you see the game shaking out?
Sam Darnold's got something to prove, and we're going to see if Wilson's going to crack under this pressure. He's in the Big Apple playing in a big team that has nothing for him. So Panthers are going to win this game. You're going against the best running back in the league, and Sam Darnold's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to want to beat his old team. There's a lot there. Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going with the Carolina as well. Mike, how do you see the game shaking out, Jets and Carolina?
I'm sorry, Zach Wilson's shown to be a good quarterback, but he's got no weapons. So I'm going to pick Darnold and the Panthers.
Yep. Jeff, you think the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much Panthers. I mean, everything I've read and seen, it's like, at least there's something there I can actually grab onto, unlike the last game we talked about. I
hear you. And then the other local team, we have Denver and the New York Giants. Alex, how do you see the game playing out?
That can go anyway.
You think so?
I think it can kind of go anyway. I don't. I'm gonna go with Denver. I'm gonna go with Denver because I don't trust the Giants. But hey, man, if Saquon pops off, give the Giants a good shot. I feel like that game can go. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win.
Yeah, Jeff, how do you see the game going?
That's I mean, I'm not a big Giants fan. Sorry, Mike, but I'm gonna have to. I have to agree with Alex. I think that
Mike, how do you see the game going for your New York Giants?
Okay, so this is Saquon Barkley's first game back in, I'd say, a year. He's got something to prove. He's gonna pop off. I believe he'll pop off, and I think the Giants take it in Denver.
And I am going to go with Denver in this one. Like I said, the Giants have to show me something with their quarterback and offensive line. Until they do, I'm going to go with Denver in this one. Giants' offensive line really scares me. And like I mentioned earlier, with Danny Dimes being turnover prone, that doesn't bode well. And Denver's a decent team. Don't sleep on Denver. Just because they may not win the division doesn't mean they might not grab one of the 2 wild card spots if they can keep the turnovers down and play good defense. So
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Denver in this one. And then I asked you guys for your top 3 games of the week. Alex, I'll start with you. What are your 3 big predictions of the week?
I like the Rams and the Bears game. Like I said earlier, I want to see how Matthew Stafford plays with this team. I want to see how they form. The biggest game, I think, is going to be the Mac Jones versus Tua. The Roll Tide going at it. Patriots and Dolphins. I would love to see that one. And I want to see how Sam Darnold plays against I want to see how the Eagles play. I was going to say Sam Darnold, but I want to see the Eagles play. So I think the 3 games, we'll look at the Eagles and Falcons. I'm going to look at the Patriots and the Dolphins. The 2 quarterbacks going at it. They used to play together. Now you're against each other. It's always exciting. And then I want to see how the Rams mesh with Matthew Stafford. So the primetime game, the 4 o'clock. And so those are my 3 picks.
Gotcha. So who do you have? Who are your winners this week, Alex? If somebody's listening out there and want your Alex Secchia's big 3 winners of the week, who are your big 3 winners?
Big 3 winners of the week. You want to put the easy money. Panthers are taking it out. I think the Patriots are going to take it out on the Dolphins. And I think the Rams are going to take it out on the Bears. Am I doing every game?
No, just your top 3.
Oh, I had the 3? Said, yeah. I think that happens. And I think the Falcons take it out over the Eagles. I'm going to do my 3 picks and add one more. The Panthers over the Jets.
Okay, so I got the Panthers, the Patriots, and the Rams, right? Those are your top, big 3 of the week?
Well, yeah,
all right.
I said 4, but yeah.
Okay. Jeff Scott, who are your big 3 winners of the week?
Well, to be honest, I think the Chiefs are going to come out on top this week, as long as they keep doing what they do. So that's my first game. The second one, obviously, Minnesota Vikings. I have to root for them. I'm hoping maybe this year will be the year and they'll get their act together. And
Definitely Super Bowl.
We're not making a wager anymore. Anyways, so and then like with Alex, I want to see how the Eagles are going to do, but I think they actually might come out on top, in my opinion. I think the Eagles are going to come out. Yeah, I said it. Brand new.
Fair.
Pretty much, if you look at it, it's almost like it's a brand new team in a sense.
Yeah, it really is.
Everything's completely new. So let's see how they gel. Let's see how they work, and maybe they can actually come out on top over the Falcons.
All right. And Mike, who are your big 3 winners of the week?
I'm going to take Panthers over Jets, Falcons over Eagles, and Packers over Saints.
And Packers over Saints. All right.
Wait. The New Orleans Saints that you were agreeing with are going to do better this year due to a hurricane?
Oh.
You're now going against them?
Just
Sorry to bring that up.
They'll do better in the season as a whole once they get past tough stretch, starting with Green Bay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You get Green Bay off the back, you're pretty much screwed for that game.
That's true.
Okay, and I got Ken Moskowitz. He chimed in. He has the Vikings, the Jets, and the Titans this week. As Ken Moskowitz is a contributor to the show, so those are Ken Moskowitz's picks. I got Jeff's pick, the other Jeff, by the way.
Let me guess, San Francisco.
Okay, that goes without saying. Yes, he did pick San Francisco. He has San Francisco, the Bills, and the Packers. And he also picked Tampa Bay versus Buffalo in the Super Bowl. So those are my brother Jeff's big picks of the week. And I got Shane's. His picks are the Bills over Pittsburgh, the Rams over the Bears, and the Panthers over the Jets. So those are Shane's picks of the week. And mine are going to be, I will go with where are we here? I will go with the Vikings over the Bengals. I will go with San Fran over Detroit. And I will go with Carolina over the Jets. So those are my picks of the week. Should be an outstanding football weekend, I think, guys. I'm really looking forward to having the NFL back. Before we leave, Mike, I know we been talking heavy on the football picks, but Mike, got to talk a little MLB and NASCAR and pro wrestling before we get out of here. Mike, how do you think your Mets are doing?
Well, they took a tough loss last night at the hands of the New York Yankees. 8-7 lost to the New York Yankees on 9-11. They were down 5-0 after 3. They came back to make it 7-5 after the 6th inning, but then they decide to blow a 2-run lead. They should have put Aaron Loop in the 7th inning, but they didn't. Question Luis Rojas' decision-making, but rubber game in that series, 8 p.m. tonight. Mets have to take this series with Atlanta's recent struggles. I've been saying this to myself since September began. They have to take the Subway Series. They have to take 2 of 3 from the Yankees right here. Loser of the Subway Series is basically screwed when it comes to making the playoffs. So the Mets have to bury the Yankees right here.
Alex, what do you think about that? Do the Mets have to bury the Yankees to have a shot at the postseason?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. I hate to say it, but it's true.
And
I was hoping that Pete Alonso could have pulled what Mike Piazza did 20 years ago with a walk-off home run. That would have been awesome.
It would have been, absolutely. Especially, again, our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone associated with 9/11, those families that lost a loved one, friend, family. Thoughts and prayers go out to those people as well that have been and are still affected by the terrorist attacks during September 11th. Good ceremony though, Alex. Yesterday during the Subway Series to honor September 11th.
Mm-hmm. As it was, yes, it was.
Yep. And Alex, how do you think the Yankees are faring in the Subway Series?
You want to have confidence. I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets. I'm going to say.
Uh-oh, I lost Alex.
Oh, man, right in the middle of a sentence.
Exactly.
He left us hanging. Oh, no.
I know. We lost Alex. But, yeah, I do think the Mets, trailing Atlanta, trailing Philadelphia, the Mets have to absolutely get as many wins as they possibly can.
Have to be at least 2.5 games back, maybe 3 back of Atlanta, heading into that final series of the season.
Yeah.
Against Atlanta. That's what I've been saying to myself since they fell back 8.5 in the middle of August. If they were at least 2 to 3 games back of Atlanta heading into that final series against the Braves, they would have a chance to win the division.
Possibly, depending on what Philadelphia is, because they also have to surpass the Phillies, Mike. And they're like a game back of the Phillies, too. So, yeah, I mean, although we're focusing on Atlanta, same way the Phillies are, the Mets have two teams to try and leapfrog. Not only Atlanta, but Philadelphia as well. So they could be 2.5 games behind Atlanta, but how many games are they trailing Philadelphia, who's also ahead of them in the standings? That's something that, unfortunately, the Mets being in third place also have to overcome. Because as good as they do, Philadelphia might do that much better. And, yeah, they might be able to catch Atlanta, but they might not be able to leapfrog the Phillies. That's why the Mets have to win absolutely as many games as they possibly can, the same way the Phillies do. And the Phillies did take a game against the Colorado Rockies, but lost the first two, which could be very damaging to their playoff hopes, both in the wild card and the division standings. For those watching, the Vinny Velasquez era in Philadelphia has come to an end. Finally, the Phillies designated Vinny Velasquez for assignment yesterday before the game. So he's pitched his last game for the Phillies. He'll be eligible to be claimed or signed as a free agent by any team. I think there will be a team that will take a shot on signing Vinny Velasquez just because, like the Phillies have done over the past few years, take a shot on his potential. Maybe sign him, maybe just put him in a role. Say, Vinny Velasquez, you're pitching the 7th inning, and that's your inning, and that's all you're going to do. Phillies have yo-yoed Vince Velasquez between starting and relieving and starting, not giving him an assigned role that, he also would get into his head at times. So that could affect, that has affected Vinny Velasquez. But I do think maybe for the playoff push, teams are always looking for pitching in any way, shape, or form that they can find it. So there might be a team that is in the pennant race that might take a shot on Vinny Velasquez, bringing him in, giving him an assigned role, saying, this is it, that's all we want out of you, and go for it. So we'll see what happens to Vinny Velasquez. I'll be interested to following his career from this point on to see whether it was the Phillies that screwed him up or whether it was Vinny Velasquez just getting into his own head and screwing himself up. So that'll be interesting to track going forward. Again, Vinny Velasquez DFA'd for assignment yesterday by the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Philadelphia Phillies will be taking on the Colorado Rockies this afternoon as well. Mike, what's going on in NASCAR? What's your NASCAR update for us?
Well, last night we had the second race of the chase, second race of the round of 16 at Richmond. It was the Salute to First Responders, Federated Auto Parts 400 Salute to First Responders. Very and cool. Get this, Martin Truex Jr. got busted for jumping the initial start and still wound up winning the race.
Oh, get out.
I kid you not. He got busted for jumping the initial start. In NASCAR, you are not supposed to beat the leader to the start-finish line on the initial start and on all restarts. Martin Truex Jr., my New Jersey native, he got busted for doing exactly that. Had to take a pass-through penalty within the first 2 laps of the race and came storming back to win.
Yep. Okay, so what do we got? Anything going on this week or coming up, Mike?
Saturday night, first elimination race at Bristol. Tough, tricky, short track, half-mile night race, half-mile track, night race. It's going to be wild. And 4 drivers at the end of the night will have their championship hopes dashed.
Ouch. This is an important race coming up then, Mike.
Yes, it's an elimination race.
Who you got?
I am going to pick Chase Elliott.
There you go. And why are you picking Chase?
He always does real well on the short tracks. Granted, he did not do quite well when the series was last at Bristol, but that was on the dirt track configuration. We're on the concrete oval this time around, so I'm expecting Chase to do well.
Gotcha. And if you could pick one guy to be eliminated, as you said, there's going to be like 4 guys. If you could pick one guy,
4 drivers will be eliminated.
Yep. If you could pick one driver who you think might be eliminated on Saturday, which driver would you say?
Kyle Busch, because I can't stand him.
Okay, Kyle Busch, you're gone. You're out of here.
He's
All
done.
Right. There you go.
I think he wrecks at Bristol because he can't win at Bristol to save his life. I think he's only won twice in the past 3 years, and he can't win at that track or any short track to save his life. So I think he's done after Saturday night.
Gotcha. All right, and that was Mike's NASCAR update. I'm going to go a little bit into the pro wrestling as we round up the show.
And that means I'm going to mute myself because I'm useless when it comes to pro wrestling.
Okay. So, Jeff Scott, big day for AEW last weekend. We had Ruby Riott, or formerly Ruby Riott, now Ruby Soho. We had CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole, all now in AEW. So some big acquisitions making their debut, making their appearance in AEW. I think the WWE is in some serious trouble now, Jeff, with those 4 in there.
Oh, they've already been in trouble. I mean, it's just a matter of time, like I said.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love seeing Bryan Danielson going up against the Bryan Danielson faction, going up against the Adam Cole faction. I think that's going to be a tremendous watch going forward. We now have apparently CM Punk after his win at the AEW pay-per-view, now apparently going up against Taz's stable, as we saw this past week. But getting CM Punk in there, huge. I mean, all 4 people, Ruby Soho, I think, was a huge get. She's now going to be getting a title shot against the AEW Women's Champion. I mean, I just see AEW just skyrocketing now. I mean, it's AEW is now must-see TV every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same thing we talked about last week too, with CM Punk coming in. We knew right away his first match he was not going to lose. It would be stupid to bring someone in and not win.
Yep.
But going forward, I'm hoping that they do where he's not like winning every single match. I hope they kind of go back and forth, like give us some drama, give us some build up, like, you know, certain people he goes up against, you know, maybe he'll have a tougher time and other people just easily wipe out. So keep the storyline like fresh and keep it flowing. Just don't saturate it too soon. You know, don't do what WWE does.
To build off your point of AEW skyrocketing, they have the TV contract with Turner. They're getting NHL promotion. Yep. What does WWE have? Bad storytelling. And I've been hearing some unconfirmed reports of Disney potentially getting into WWE.
Does that mean all those female wrestlers are now Disney princesses if that happens?
Don't do it there, Jeff Scott. But yeah, going back to AEW, AEW's taking off with the Turner Sports partnership, with all these former WWE wrestlers, with the NHL promotion. I'm expecting to see NHL stars become part of AEW on Turner Sports once NHL, TBS, and TNT get going.
Maybe make an appearance or
maybe make an appearance. Make an appearance on AEW once NHL and Turner Sports gets going in October.
Yeah, I could see but they're not going to wrestle or anything.
They're not going to wrestle. They're definitely not going to wrestle.
Yeah, they might
appearances. Once NHL's partnership with Turner gets going.
Yeah, exactly. I could definitely see something like that. Because
once NBA restarts on Turner in late October, early November, I can see some NBA stars make appearances on AEW.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think
bringing the synergy between Turner Sports and their partnerships with NBA and now NHL.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the things about pro wrestling is they'll bring in stars from other sports, to be like special referees or to give their wrestlers a little bit of a bump, that type of thing. That's always happened. So yeah, I can foresee something like that. But when you have the star power, like I said, like a Bryan Danielson, formerly Daniel Bryan in the WWE, when you have CM Punk, these guys can give the younger guys a little bit of a rub just by wrestling them, maybe losing a match or two to them, like you said, Jeff, elevating them a little bit. I think that's going to be huge for the promotion, and that's why they did these media scrums after the matches the other night with Ruby Riott, with Bryan Danielson, with CM Punk, and with Adam Cole as well. Just to have the media ask these guys questions. I mean, you could see what was really cool is you could see the smile on Ruby Soho's face. She didn't stop smiling the whole time, just for coming into AEW. And you can see the difference. I think these guys that are coming in with their storylines, with their ability to do promos and not be scripted like you are in the WWE. I think that is a refreshing change that these wrestlers are embracing by coming over to AEW, and that's what AEW has fostered. It's been really great, and I think that's what the lore right now. And Mick Foley even came out on his social media account and said, "Hey, if I was a veteran, if I was still in professional wrestling at this time, and I was still in the ring, let's say, and I was a guy whose contract was up, or I was a young up-and-coming rookie wrestler, and I had a choice between going to the WWE right now, the way it is, watered down, and the way that they take characters from NXT and water them down once they get to the main roster, or totally remake their characters, or going over to AEW. He said, I'd probably go over to AEW right now if I had that opportunity. Because Mick Foley says, I don't trust WWE creative to put my career in their hands. And he does trust the creative within AEW. That's huge, Jeff, for Mick Foley to come out and say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's everything we've been talking about. Like everything we knew would happen is happening.
Exactly. And that's why if I was Triple H, if I was Stephanie McMahon, if I was Vince McMahon, I would be hugely worried about AEW right now, because they have an owner in Tony Khan that is a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. So he can throw a ton of money at the product. They have good creative behind the scenes, good foundation there. And that's why all these guys are gravitating over to AEW right now.
Yeah, and that's why the WWE is always bringing back people from the past. They're trying to keep that hold. I mean, just like what happened recently, like John Cena came back to go up against Roman Reigns because they know they're in trouble.
Exactly.
So let's have this big thing. And then what happens? John Cena gets defeated.
Yep, exactly.
This big hoopla to bring this big guy. I mean, he just had a big movie. He just had this. So they had to try to use that star power to try to keep themselves relevant. And then they make them lose?
Yep.
Watch them sell to Disney.
Exactly.
You know, they'll be
wearing. I see the marketing possibilities for WWE sale to Disney, and live matches at Wide World of Sports, WWE themed attractions at Disneyland and Disney World.
We're gonna have Stormtrooper Rumble in the ring. That's what everyone dressed as Stormtroopers. That's what it's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. I swear it's gonna get so ridiculous. It's not even funny.
I hope not.
Oh my God.
But Mike, one thing I wanted to discuss with you before we get out of here. Last week, I want to bring it up to you this week. What are your thoughts about the thumbs down motion by some of the Mets players?
Look, I get where they were coming from. The crowd was booing their offensive struggles at the time, but what Javier Baez did was essentially a revolt against the fans for what they were doing to the Mets. I don't get why Baez did that, but after that thumbs down movement, the team started to do better. So that was basically a repeat of Brodie Van Wagenen throwing a chair during a press conference 2 years ago.
Oh, no. I think that's
was the 2021 version of the chair incident.
No, I think this was way worse. Absolutely, positively way worse. Because in my mind, if you're one of the, like I said, it wasn't just Javi Baez. He was doing it at the request of Lindor, their shortstop. And I think it was one other guy that he mentioned that was involved in it as well. You do not, when you are losing and you are a absolutely pathetic team that in a division where the division winner may just be a couple of games over 500 to win the worst division probably in baseball, and you want to alienate you want to go to war with your fan base. Yes, they may have won a couple of games after that. No, I don't think they deserve, Mike. They deserve to be booed. All right, the Philadelphia fans. All right, if your team isn't doing well, we boo your butt out of the stadium. All right, look at Vinny Velasquez. Look at some of the relief pitchers the Phillies have had over the past couple of years. They've been booed off the mound. And you know what? To a man, the Bryce Harper or any of those guys say, you know what? If you're going to boo me and I'm not doing well, go ahead and boo me because you know what? I deserve it. For those Mets players, for Francisco Lindor, who's had a down season, who the Mets brought in as one of their marquee free agent signings this year, Mike.
He wasn't a free agent when we acquired him. He had year or two left in his contract.
Yeah.
Signing him like 11 years, $341 million. Thank you, Steve Cohen. Thank you and your money.
Well, exactly, and it threw all this money at him, Mike. And he's going to go to war with you, a diehard. And he was saying, Mike, I am going to war with you, a diehard Mets fan. If you boo me, I don't care diddly squat about you. Now, yes, Sandy Alderson came out with a press release, blah blah blah. The guys apologized, blah blah blah. But
Alderson condemned them. Alderson condemned the thumbs down movement.
Exactly.
And it was back page. Not just back, the front page of News Daily.
And it should be. And it should absolutely be. These guys are absolutely the worst. And yes, they may have apologized, come out publicly, whatever. They're probably not, they may not be doing it any longer, but they're probably thinking, you know what, I don't like these Mets fans. And they did that to you, Mike, a diehard Mets fan, and all these other Mets fans out there. It was absolutely the worst thing when you're struggling and you may not make the playoffs and you're going to struggle to even be a second place team this year. Not even a first place team, but you're going to struggle to be a second place team, maybe, or you might finish in third, and you're going to alienate your fan base. Absolutely. I have no place for those guys on my team. You know what? I think they should have been benched. I would be playing their backups the majority of the time. I know the Mets are fighting for a playoff spot. And you know what? I would say, you know what? If you guys didn't do this, you would be playing right now. I want you guys to earn your spot before I play your guys again. To me, it was the absolutely worst thing I've seen in quite a while to alienate those diehard Mets fans. It was absolutely unbelievable that they would do this. And that Baez would admit that they were doing this. And he could have said, you know what, that gesture is just between me and Lindor and yada yada yada. But no, he came right out and said, you know what? The Mets fans are going to boo us. We're having a bad season. We're struggling. Lindor hasn't lived up to his contract. I haven't lived up to my doing what I'm supposed to do, and we don't deserve to be booed. We want to be babied. We want to be nurtured. We're little babies. Lindor and Baez are the little babies. Here's your little bottle, Lindor. Here's your little bottle, Baez. Here's your little bottle. There you go. Oh, we can't handle the big city. Ooh, I came from Cleveland. Ooh, I came from Chicago. I should be able to handle a big city, but I can't. Those guys are the biggest babies that I've seen. And they should be able to handle it, especially Lindor, who's getting paid what he's getting paid. Absolutely incredible that they would do this to the diehard Mets fan base. Unbelievable. Was that enough of a rant, do you think, Jeff?
It's good.
Okay, cool.
I was trying to think that we lost Jeff.
All right. Well,
no, when Jay gets started, you let him go. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you just wait.
Exactly. So, anything else that you guys want to bring up this week before we sign off, guys?
I'm good.
All right. Okay. Well, you guys are good. So we are going to sign off. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and finding us on our social media channels. We appreciate it. Again, check us out, sportsskilletradio.com, or do a search on social media. All you have to do is type in Sports Skillet and we'll pop up. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, we got it. We want to thank the Heat Ratio for hosting us today. We appreciate them as well. And you want to check out all the great shows on the Heat Ratio. We got a Eagles post-game wrap-up coming up tonight, so you want to tune in for that. Again, do a search for the Heat Ratio, and they will pop up. Lots of good things going on over at Sports Skillet and the Heat Ratio as well. Check out sportsskilletradio.com for all the sports news, show updates, great articles by Mike as well. So check out sportsskilletradio.com for all that. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in this week, and we will see you again next Sunday. Have a great week, everybody.
Stays right where Allen wants to go. Wants the baseline. Fade away. Yeah. He's way too good. He steps around Lou and drilled it. And the Sixers have scored 9 in a row.